So I'm standing in front of the beautiful home and business of Jenna, and we've interviewed you before
Yes.
For Garden Bootcamp, right?
Yes.
And this is also the home of Garden Bootcamp.
Yes, it is.
So first of all, I must say, what a lovely, lovely
Thank
space
you.
you have here. Tell me a little bit about this history, because it looks like an older home that is just beautiful.
It's beautiful, and we're very lucky to be here, and we view ourselves as caretakers, of this wonderful home and garden. The house was built by Mr. and Mrs. Groner, and it was built in 1936, and the architect was Herman Brookman.
Really? Mm-hmm. Well, what I love is, I know that from just interviewing you before and knowing you, you put a lot of passion into the garden and
Yes.
the history and the feelings of it. And clearly, you've done that here as well with this garden. Mm-hmm. So what are some of the things you did to it?
Well, I kind of looked at the enframement of the garden first and developed some pathways and made it more into a strolling garden as opposed to just a looking garden.
Yeah.
So it's meant to have people stroll through it and enjoy it. I created some soft borders with some boxwood, which are formal, and everything else is kind of wild, like these roses and the Sargent crab apples. They're just stunning when they're blooming, but they're dwarf, so that it opens up the view.
Sure, and the view itself is
I know,
breathtaking.
it's wonderful.
And I have to say that the minute we started walking into it, I thought, wow, I feel comfortable here, and that's a great thing
That's
for a garden
great.
to feel like, isn't it?
It's meant to be very inviting,
Yeah.
and very beautiful, and have many, many different interesting things for different people.
And what I like too is right now, it appears very colorful, but there's not a lot of color in the sense of flowers right now. Mm-hmm. But there's so many layers of the greens and the purples that go on. Mm-hmm. Do you just come up with that miraculously, or is that a plan? Is it just history of working with stuff?
I think that I take an integrated approach, and also I try to get 24/7 something to look at.
Yeah.
So my pink dawn viburnum is blooming and scented in January, believe it or not. And then the structure of the boxwoods and the other large trees gives enframement, when things aren't so jazzy flower-wise. And then when I use color, I tend to use a saturated color, so it really pops against the green.
Yeah.
And those are just tricks that I've kind of learned along the way.
And one of the things we're going to do now is go to a different part of the garden, though, because you're going to share with us some of the things we can do in summertime to really help along with the garden.
Yes.
So let's take a walk, shall we?
Okay, all right.
So now we are actually standing in a bocce court, aren't we?
Yes,
I
know.
love that.
It's so fun. It's so fun.
Now, as we're going into the summertime, there are some things that we can do right now, though, to really help the garden stand up and look better in that time of year.
Yes.
And you're going to give us one of those hints right now.
Right. So at Garden Bootcamp, we're here to help you look successful.
Sure.
And have your garden be looking its best year round. So one of the mantras that we use in Garden Bootcamp is right plant, right place, right purpose. Plant the right thing and you'll be successful.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is Phygelius, which is Cape fuchsia, one of my all-time favorite plants. It's drought oriented. It comes back every year. It stands up straight mostly. And what I do is I prune it back hard, and then I let it come on, and then I layer it. So where I'm starting to get some blooms, I might say this is okay for now. But then what I want to do is I want to go ahead and come in and cut back about 12 to 18 inches on a third of the plants, of the stems, I'm sorry. And what that'll do is that will give me more blooms mid-July, and then I'll do it again. And this blooms through till Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Seriously.
So you really you are almost controlling the time it blooms better than if it just reblooms on its own.
Controlling.
Yeah, that's very good.
And that's what we teach at Bootcamp.
Well, and speaking of that, there's so much information about gardening, and so much that a lot of us simply don't know. You cannot find a better place to find out all that information than out here at Gardening Bootcamp. You can go to gardentime.tv. We can click you over to their website. What is your website?
It's www.gardenbootcamp.com.
Perfect. Come out and learn a lot about your garden, how to make it beautiful all summer long. Thank you so much, Jenna.
Yeah, thank you.